Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel after dark.
Welcome to another episode of Steel Sharpened Steel. I am your interim host, Joy Stevens.
I am Sharon Letman Hicks.
And I am Chuck Hobbs.
And we are bringing you a trio of classy, bougie, ratchet. I'll let you decide who is who tonight. Until our fourth gets here. He lives in the illustrious city of LA. I'm doing my best to impersonate the incomparable Thomas Cunningham tonight, but he will be here shortly. In the interim, I have hosting duties, and I want to welcome you to the show tonight. Please let us know where you're watching from. If you haven't heard, we have had problems with our original host, Facebook, because they like to be on that bullshit, as they say. And we decided that we're moving our platform to Twitch and to Facebook. So let us know, if you will, where are you tuning in from? Are you on Twitch or are you on Facebook? And first in the building, as always, what's up, Anthony? Glad to have you in the room. I'm seeing him on YouTube. So YouTube and Twitter, that's where we are. So we're trying to get everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way when we go live, you'll see it, you'll get the notification, you can jump in, you can make comments, just like we always do, except we're trying to get away from, Zuckerberg's den of iniquity. So appreciate you being here. Welcome. Thanks for having us. Thanks for being with us here tonight. And tonight, okay, what's up, Noob City? I see you. I think that is you, O.C. Anderson, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Lord. See, that's what I'm talking about. Folks be getting put in Facebook jail over
Facebook jail.
Facebook jail.
CJ, what they locked you up about?
Tell us, babe.
Yeah, what you
it's always about some BS.
Right.
Right. Clarence, appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Mr. McWhite.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, Mr. Hicks? Oh, welcome. I was doing my best to give my best Tom Cunningham impersonation.
I warned you, Chuck. I knew it wasn't gonna be long.
Yeah. No, you couldn't stay away. Away from it.
I was literally getting my dog out of daycare.
Doggy daycare.
Doggy daycare. Diesel's doggy daycare. During the Delta.
Sicily.
See, now this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is actually what we're talking about tonight. Now look at this. Now Cicely got put in Facebook jail because some MAGA anti-vaxxer says she was bullying them. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about this vaccine and all this nonsense that's going on. That's what we're here tonight to talk about, because this anti-vax and this, it's all a hoax, while 750,000 people have lost their lives in this country alone. It's ridiculous. And it's getting more and more, it's redonkulous at this point.
And in Mississippi, it's M-I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback, ridiculous.
Right.
Because them people are, I think you said it, Joy, it's not hot girl summer, it's hot zone summer.
Yes.
COVID is like, ow.
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 That's exactly what they sound.
Yeah, no, COVID is doing the mizzos right now.
You doing the most right now.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I felt your spittle on me through the screen.
Right?
That's a high-def Apple camera on this MacBook. That's what it is. That's why you get that high-def.
This is crazy. 77 reported cases since the schools open on Wednesday.
And where is Cecily? Is she in Florida?
No, she's in Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
And I believe I read this morning there were 4 teachers in Broward County who have died since school started. Yeah,
that's
died,
right.
Not contracted, dead. It's these people out of control across the country. I've never seen anything like this. Crazy.
And I have a colleague in Florida, education who had to quarantine 1,000 students.
Wow.
On day one because of the COVID. And because of contact tracing requirements and everything else, you know, it's not just the one, it's the one plus the kids who are sitting around the one plus however many kids were in the other classes with the one and da 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 da. So on. So you got these people.
Oh, Mobile, Alabama. Well, the deep thing is breaking news that Biden is stepping in on the Satan. And he is going to release funds to offset districts who decide that they got to mandate. Right. So those people that are going to defy him, Uncle Joe is coming to rescue.
Right. Now, the backstory on that for people that don't know, despite DeSantis's edict that there will be no mask mandates in Florida, some people with the sense God gave them said, no, that's stupid. We're going to say you have to wear a mask to come into the school. And this fool said, if you make these children wear masks, we will hold your funding. We will hold up your pay. And so yes. So the president has now had to say, we will provide funds to people with the sense God gave them. You see how
federal relief funds. But it gets worse, because I decided to become a local activist this week. I went to my school board meeting on Tuesday and I testified.
You sure did.
And our superintendent that I was very upset with 2 weeks ago, I'm still upset with now, but I saw his heart, right? And I saw that he really got waxed and it's a really bad position with the community. And he pushed it a little bit. You know, he took it back to K through 12 to mandatory masks, but because they're constitutional officers, they had to roll over and said that there is a deep embedded clause from the letter that was sent from the Department of Education that basically says we're launching an investigation because you're going against the law. And that one step further, if DeSantis wanted to really turn the screw, which we should believe at this point he would, he can remove them from office. He actually has that power to remove our constitutionally elected superintendent and all elected school board members, right? So I don't really buy it because I don't buy it, right? But because it was the only right-wing school board member that led the argument, that wouldn't y'all prefer us to stay in place than to worry about DeSantis appointing people? So they had it both ways. They mandated masks, but you could opt out for freedom, which means that it's optional, mask optional, right? The difference here is he did commit to look at the law and go after home. Our counties are run by home rule, right? I don't think there's a judge in this country, much less in this state, that is going to, especially even if you're a Republican judge, because Republicans believe in local control.
Yeah, they do.
So the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy of that's what y'all stand for, but it's okay to give up local control because, it's some bullshit, right? So here we have it. Not only most schools in Florida have not opened, right? But while we're thinking about our children first, that should be masked up, you have the vaccination rate is so freaking low. And I ain't just talking about crazy trailer park people. I'm talking about people that look like us.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not giving Black people no pass.
No.
Yeah.
Vaccination rate is abhorrent. Abhorrent. Yep. Okay. So when those teachers, school don't start till next week in Broward County. These are the people coming off summer vacation. So how many people just got back and is walking into school next week, walking into school this week in Leon County, because school started on Wednesday for our children, right? Mind you, the school board meeting was Tuesday night, right? And then we wake up with memos Wednesday morning for the parents that wasn't at the school board meeting or watching it Tuesday night. That's another story. So, and most schools are rolling. Few schools, smaller counties started this week. The larger counties like Broward County starts next week. So we already got people who are COVID sick now, COVID dead now, right? All 4 were not vaccinated. So, and we already know the vaccination rate. So I know several Leon County teachers who are not vaccinated that I would never have believed in my life were not vaccinated. Young women, Black women, not vaccinated, right? Teaching in elementary school.
Sharon, have they given you any indication as to why? That's what continues
Everybody
to vex
is on
me.
that same old bullshit. Everybody's on that same bullshit, Chuck. I just want to wait and see. How long you got to wait? We've been getting vaccinated since February. My shit was February 10th and March 10th. I remember that forever, like my social security number. Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 months, 6 years, what? Well, I'm relatively healthy. I already had COVID, so I'm pretty much immune. You ain't immune to shit because you look, Sarah, the Delta variant is a beast just like us. Okay. So I want to be very clear. I don't fuck with the Delta variant. Okay.
Right.
So y'all try it, unvaxxers, if you want to. When you got children being airlifted to hospitals, let's remember the first COVID of 2020. COVID-19 of 2020 wasn't affecting children. How is every children hospital in the United States overflowing in 2021? And we think it's some piddlywink extension of COVID-19. It's the beast.
Literally.
And people that forget, well, most people don't even know enough about Spanish flu, and so many people died. The worst of Spanish flu was the second wave, not the first wave.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same type of things happened. There was a parade in Philadelphia, I want to say Pennsylvania, for them to prove they weren't afraid of this stupid hoax that wasn't as bad as people were saying. Because again, like COVID, you couldn't see who had it. And because people didn't develop boils and festering sores, they're like, oh, it's not that bad. And they had a parade and everybody caught and everybody died. And they're like, oh, we should probably, even though they didn't have a CDC at the time, the same things are being said. You should cover your mouth. You should maybe stay inside. You should avoid contact with other people. Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm going down the street because you can't tell me what to do. And the same shit happened.
You can't. I wish I would have clicked. I have, unfortunately, and I'm literally going to get tested on Monday. I'm sitting next to the podium for the 2.5 hours that I was at the school board meeting, and it wasn't over when I left. The 2.5 hours, so every person that testified literally had to brush by me. I never took off my mask, and I had my glasses on. But to your question, Joy, I didn't even scratch my nose. I was masked up for 2.5 hours, right? The difference, however, is sitting next to the ignorance and listening to it firsthand come out of people who are screaming and shouting and threatening the school board members, particularly the superintendent, about their freedoms. One woman talked about the extensive disabilities that her child has, how the child is traumatized, definitely has some learning challenges, and what a mask would do to the child. I said, what the hell you think the Delta variant gonna do to your child? It was so, I was sitting there like, some of y'all people trying to get rid of your children, what's going on here?
Right.
Because the logic of already saying your child has all these issues, right? And that the mask causes, that's a child that should be staying home.
Anyway.
Okay? Right. So that you feel that child needs socialization with no mask in the middle of a pandemic with health issues, help me understand that logic.
And is the child vaccinated?
No!
See, listen, we talked about this last week. We talked about freedom and all this. Ron DeSantis talking about, I want to see children smiling faces in the ICU. Because they're going to have a different sort of mask, and it's going to be pumping oxygen into their barely viable lungs if they get COVID and end up too ill to survive. People are talking an awful lot, and Ron DeSantis thinks, he's Trump light and he can weather any storm. You let the first child die
but he's
and
on
have
some
that
new shit.
parent. Oh, I understand.
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm even saying, so DeSantis don't even mention Trump's name. He's on some total, totalitarian movement all on his own.
Oh yeah, that's his new thing. He thinks he doesn't even need Trump anymore because he's already inherited the mantle. But here's the thing: what you're going to inherit,
put that foot in his ass.
And when you inherit that first dead child, and your former supporter comes out and says that little thin strip of fabric could have saved my child's life, and Ron DeSantis made it impossible for him to wear it, and that's going to be the beginning of the end. It's going to be worse than Cuomo, folks. When Ron DeSantis gets a body count of children whose smiles he wanted to see, it's going to be a wrap.
And I got to take it a step further, Tom. Parents, I don't care how old your child is. Y'all need to get some N95s.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're slowly but surely telling us. They've already said it, but they're not overemphasizing it, right? I had to go online. I spent 2 hours combing through to get a small enough fit. Mine will be here this weekend. Okay. Your children are okay with the regular mask, but they're not 100% safe because the vaccinated people are carriers. That means us. Okay. We're not going to end up in a hospital, but looking at the statistics of how it's infecting children, you need to get your child an N95 or KN95. But something with a respirator, and you need to practice with it. I've been wearing one of them things since March of 2020, before they was told us not, but when they was telling us not to buy them. And it is actually more comfortable. It's actually more comfortable. Right?
It's definitely more comfortable than the little surgical mask.
Bulky. It's big and bulky, but it's if you can't find N95s for kids, get the KN95s.
The KN95s.
They sell them plentifully. And unfortunately, the KN95s are made in China. That's what the K represents, to let you know they're made in China.
The N95s are made in China.
Well, majority of them are made in the United States. Because I even went on the site called N95 Project, and they gave the history of what the difference of the K is, and how they got temporary approval, blah, 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 because they didn't trust the Chinese. So it was, but whatever you can get, they got a 95 at the end. That's better than
the challenge with the N95s is that the N95s that actually have those little plastic things on the outside, those are like 10 times as expensive as the KN95s, and those are even more expensive than the regular little ones that you can just go to Costco and get 50 for $9. So for families who are looking at the budgetary constraints, definitely the KN95s, those will probably going to cost you about $1 per. When you buy them, and if you can get them in bigger bulk, then it will come down. But look on Groupon. Groupon sells them. There's a whole bunch of different places that will sell them. But it is important. I got my final 2 kids. They got their first shot, and they're going to get their second shot a week into school. But they both had to have PCR tests even to go to school on Monday, which is when our school goes back. And the entire LAUSD is on 100% masks. Except during outside nutrition time.
Now, Cecily makes a good point, because the healthcare workers do need the N95 mask. And
that's the same thing they told us before, but they're in abundance now. They're in abundance.
They are in abundance, but I'm rolling back to my my engineering days and my chemistry days and everything. So matter of fact, I learned this when I was working in corporate America. But all particles take the path of least resistance, and it doesn't matter what you put on your face. The weave on the N95 mask and everything, all they're really doing is either making a portal that is too small for that particle to get through, or the other option is to create what they call a tortuous path. That means that the particle would have to shift directions too many times until it comes up against, a barrier. It's like, like you can carry water in your hand for so long before it falls through. And if you keep dropping water, eventually it's gonna evaporate, whatever. But my point is, you can put 2 t-shirts on your face. You can put a bandana with whatever they call the little wrap thing, and then tie a napkin. You can get it done. And those multiple layers will create a tortuous path that those particles can't get through, because they get stopped here. The ones that will come in this direction will get stopped here. The ones that will come in this direction will get stopped here. You can layer if you were just flat broke, or if they're out. And I'm telling you this for future reference when we're running around looking like Walking Dead, or what's that game, Fallout, where everybody's wearing, the when you can't get it or whatever. Because hell, that's where we're headed at this point. If you need it, just understand you can wrap 2 t-shirts around your face and protect yourself, because the particles will have trouble changing direction to get to your nose. But that also means you dropping everything at the door every time you come in the house. You know,
well, but Joy, that's a good point. Just one quick thing. I want everybody's historic memory to be clear. At one point, Fauci and them said, or one of those crew people that's always on, to double mask. So what Joy is saying was that was their code at that time, and then they was shut up real quick. But they put out there initially, Joy, you're absolutely right, to double mask, right? This past week, they've been, well, the only thing that really works, and they're very clear, the only thing that really works and is safe for children,
right,
are N95s. They were very explicit. And he said, ho, ho, ho. He said, the difference is, if you can't get it, the single mask, look at it this way, will last 5 good minutes in direct action, right? Then he said the multi-layer one, 15 minutes of contact. In other words, don't be around somebody longer than 15 minutes. Now, our children average is 6 hours to 8 hours in public school. And he said the difference with the N95 is you're good for 25 hours. And the thing, that's why they're so important in the hospital. He broke it down to say, if you can't do it, still do. And I really appreciate Joy talking about the double masking, because everything she's saying that we build up will at least get you a couple more hours of security. Right.
So if you're just running a Target, you're really not spending more than 2 or 3 minutes in direct contact with any one person.
With people, right?
Yeah, with people. Go in, get out, you know. But if you're going to be sitting in school surrounded by these other little anti-vaxxer apps everywhere, you need the best protection you can get, you know.
And what people are not totally considering, when it's more than just the weave, it's actually the physical construction of the mask. The surgical mask, when you put them on most children, you get that big wing, which is basically a quarter size opening on either side of their face. But the N95s have that stitching all the way around, so it tends to fit on your face better, and they have a really aggressive, it's a metal thing that really folds, and you can kind of mold it to your face. So to your point, Sharon, about the easy entry point, it's much more difficult. But let's be clear, the viruses do not have muscles and wings. They are carried on things like droplets of water and mist from your mouth. And all of the masks will help to prevent the droplets from going everywhere. And so the point is, whatever you have, you need to be using. And if your child is above 12, which is where the current levels of vaccine kind of nationwide, there's approval for people who are 12 and older, you need to get your child the vaccine.
Right. And if you need a mask, apparently go see Noob City 1993, because he got all the masks. He just bought out Amazon. For anybody in the Atlanta area, you know, I'm gonna come holler at you later, sir. I know where you live, so I'm gonna hit you up.
Mask off. Don't do that.
No.
All of y'all who are doing all them other little things, mask on is what the song is. Get that little flute playing with mask on. And make sure your kids are safe. Because honestly, folks, you know, we titled this show My Fall Plans. And there's a lot of people who were making big plans. I got big plans. All of us, the 4 of us, are supposed to be doing a homecoming show.
Down to FAMU.
Down to FAMU.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about HBCUs, you got these kind of fall plans happening.
Oh, Lord.
She's all at the altar. Papa Pope is sitting there ready to take her away.
That's the day he started B613 right there.
Exactly, because Dwayne Wade came in there and screwed up his whole life. And he said, oh, never again.
Never again.
Never again. And we all need to be cognizant and safe and helpful to each other. But for all you Ron DeSantis stands, all you people who are so sure that it's a hoax and all that, God bless you, because in 2022 during the election, it's going to be some fewer of you that we don't have to worry about.
You know,
that's real voter suppression. It's not viral suppression; it's voter suppression for real, for real.
But you know, there's a lady in Nevada that her child tested positive, and so did she, and she sent that kid to school. knowing her kid was positive for COVID, infected 80 other kids. Now all of them kids and a bunch of teachers, all of them got to go be quarantined, but effectively shut down the school. You know, all behind it doesn't matter. I got to send my kid to school. Why? Why would you do that? What is your purpose for that? You know,
and the vaccine is free.
People are selfish. People are very selfish out here. And when Sharon was at that school board meeting the other day, the selfishness was just coming all out the screen from a lot of people as Sharon was describing. I watched it and I just was like, wow, these people only care about what it is they want to do. And I think that's what frustrates all of us when you look at the plans. I mean, I was supposed to be in Miami Labor Day weekend for the FAMU Jackson State game. Me and my whole clique were supposed to be down there for the first time hanging out in 2 years, and there will be no clique in Miami. FAMU homecoming out, Spellhouse homecoming out. Even though
so wait a minute. So you're in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Has the school said that they are shutting things down?
No.
Or you're just saying that people are already changing their plans? Oh, Chuck Hobbs is
shutting his thing down just because, again, vaccinated, I wear the mask, but no, man, it's just it's too dangerous out here, y'all. It's too dangerous. And even though I know that we who have been vaccinated are not at a risk of dying, I don't even want. One of the things that has been beautiful about the pandemic is I haven't had any real colds or flus or nothing else since March of last year. I've been probably as healthy as I have ever been. And I think that's because of the masking and the social distancing. So I don't even want to sniffle from the thing. And it's just too dangerous. I mean, like, even I know y'all saw some of the pictures. Like, there was a picture from one of the schools here in Tallahassee, Rickards High, over here on the south side. And they had so many children in that corridor that were packed in. I saw similar pictures at Godby High School here, same at Leon High. I saw one of those today. And I just can't.
Like sardines.
Yeah, I just can't picture myself, at the at the tailgate turned up like we have been in years past, where there, are thousands of people, all smushed in having a good time. I'm just not comfortable with that this year. I'm just not.
Well, and I mean, Chuck, let's be honest. It's not like we can go to any kind of HBCU football game and not be in a club crunk, drunk, music loud, people talking, and all the aerosol going. It's not even, it's not even worth it. But you're gonna be in the club with a mask on and leaning in, trying to hear each other, and then trying to talk back to each other through a mask.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, the moon was not on my agenda when I went to homecoming last time. I will be happy in my Verbo with my Sands, and I will go get me a sandwich from Publix. And be kicking it. I will walk around with a mask, buy me a t-shirt, and get my happy ass right back in my car and just go kick it. Because I'll tell you this much. The vibe of being at homecoming for me has never been about being smashed up next to folks.
Well, we figured that out though, Tom. We created all kind of outdoor events. From the day party to tailgate in the parking lot. Now FAMU owns Cascade Park. So they can do anything they want in the amphitheater. We can sit in the bleachers of the amphitheater and listen to Tallahassee Night Live on the amphitheater stage.
I just don't want. I'm making my decisions day by day. If the airline tells me X, I don't have so much sunk into the Verbo that's going to be a big deal. But if the airline, of course, starts making recommendations, but I do want to see FAMU, and seeing FAMU to me does not mean, good Lord, $500,000. Thank you, Alvin.
Damn.
That's a lot of money now. That's more than them STEMI checks.
What's interesting to think about is there's a Venn diagram that where, if you think about it, there's a huge overlap between the people who have refused universal health care and are also refusing the vaccine. And if you think about this $500,000, and are also refusing to lift the minimum wage, and are refusing social safety nets, This is going to all hit them like a perfect storm, ton of bricks, you know?
You know what really sucks about that, though, is that along those same lines, if you're so anti all of that, they're the ones that are clogging up the hospitals right now. And
exactly.
So, you know, if you don't believe in the science, you don't believe in doctors, and you're picking at Fauci, then stay your ass home, die from the disease. Why are you running to the ER?
Listen, if you walk into my ER, I'm gonna give you a tablespoon of Robitussin and some wipes, and a shot glass of bleach and some ginger and some saltines, and you can walk it right off.
Just for you.
Just walk around the hospital 5 times and then say Candyman, and then you can go home, because that's all you need, right? You certainly don't need this bed.
Right.
You don't need any of that. All you need is the ginger and the tussin and the bleach.
Yeah.
And you're good.
And the hydrochloroquine.
Yes, good hydrochloroquine. Go stand in the sunlight. Do this. Get all that sunlight into your lungs, and you'll be straight, right? That's the science. That's all you need. So don't come to the hospital. Stay your sick self at home. And you all pray the COVID away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that sequence of memes that the Baltimore Health Authority is putting out there. Canada Dry will not cure COVID, Candace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's that serious.
Just stop.
What upsets me is all of the people who are fighting a losing battle because of the oath they took to do this and to try to save people. And every single day they are putting themselves in jeopardy over some asshole who's worried about my freedom, America and all of this. And
y'all, it's about to get worse. Like, especially down here in the South, we are 3 weeks away from kickoff. And I'm not just talking about black college ball. No, I'm talking about Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. You about to see 100,000 people in each one of those stadiums each Saturday. There will be no social distancing. There will be few masks, if any. It's about to be a super spreader nightmare over the course of the next 2 months here in the deep South. Y'all just watch.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Roll Tide. You're gonna be rolling over in your grave, because it's madness. And all these people, there's a reason, people. There's a reason why COVID is running rampant through that southeast little crescent. Republican governor, Republican governor, Republican governor. No mask, no mask, no mask. And the Arkansas governor came out and said, I really wish that hadn't become law. You signed it.
Yeah.
And now the Supreme. You wish it had not become law?
Eat it. You got to own that.
But you put it in law.
But you made it into law. And now the Supreme Court is saying, well, we can do such and such and such and so. Okay, so fine. All of that South. All of the South.
But what's deep, Tom? These cats are vaccinated, right?
Yup.
They have decided survival of the fittest. So there's a small crew that's just squawking.
Survival of the elite.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And ethnic cleansing. Let's not be confused, right? They looking at the same data we're looking at. And they're looking at it closely. Okay. White people are more vaccinated than Hispanics and Black people.
They can return the ratios to 1960s.
No. We ain't talking about no cohort, Tom. We talking about, the Negroes in the South ain't getting vaccinated. So we're going to mandate no mask. We as a race are healthier than them. We believe in freedom. Look, if I didn't witness the crazy, they all in the public schools. DeSantis allowed Hope Scholarship because if you feel bullied, right? Now, let's talk about the power dynamics, Joy. How is a person masked going to be the bully on the person with everything exposed to be up in your face?
Right.
So, but he created Hope Scholarships. That's our little choice voucher program that they have going, that they've removed. One of the options to get your tax dollars out of the public school system is I want freedom. They actually made freedom an option. So you could take your tax dollars, go to the private schools, because we know who's going to be left in the public schools. So the Black and brown children, right? And they only targeting this at South Florida. And they have made it a priority that we going to either come in there and infect your children, because again, overwhelmingly, you all are more unhealthy people than us. Don't tell me they not in their hoods in the back room having this conversation. Because it is one, a complete oxymoron to do what they're doing. There's a crew of them pushing, saying, get vaccinated. And a large part of them told the trailer parks, y'all part of the problem, so y'all can,
Y'all can bite it too.
Y'all can bite it too.
And so so I just learned about this maybe a couple of months ago, and I asked my doctor friends, and they're like, yes, this is actually true. The pulse oximeter is the little thing they put on your finger to measure the oxygen in your blood. It does not read correctly, or it does not read as accurately for darker skin. And they've known about that since like 2005. But, darker skin, fuck them, small percentage, who cares? We're not going to rework this whole thing and spend money to redo this for the Negroes and the other darkies, whatever. And so they've never fixed it. And now we're in the middle of a pandemic where they decide who gets a ventilator, they decide who goes home, they decide who gets treatment, etc., based off the oxygen saturation in your blood, which is largely based off the readings, considering how many hundreds of thousands of people are needing to get through that system, largely off that pulse oximeter. And so when you combine that with the number of people that are not being vaccinated, so you got all this propaganda and all of this misinformation, and then Black folks not getting vaccinated, brown folks as well, everybody not doing it. And then when they are getting sick, less likely to be checked in because your saturation isn't showing as low as it really is, more likely to die at home if they go in the first place, more likely to get discharged early because you look like you can go home. Higher death rates, which we already are seeing. We've been seeing that this entire pandemic. And now let's look at mass numbers across the United States. We know, or we have been seeing since the mid 80s, a trend down in the percentages of white Americans versus all others, right? How do you fix that? You start trying to wipe out the others. An easy way to do that is to do an equal number of deaths across all, because 10 white people does not hit that population like 10 Black people hits our population. And so they can say, oh, it's equal numbers of Black and white, but percentage wise, it's 30% of the Black population and 4% of the white population. So when they do these numbers all over again, and you start taking ratios again, they are back up to being 70% of the population by the end of this pandemic, which could have been the goal all along, is to reintroduce themselves as a supermajority in the United States and get rid of all of this talk about equality and equity, and you Negroes and all you other little darkies, y'all shut up and get back in your lane, because we are back on top, even if we had to kill some of our own to do it. I'm gonna go get a drink.
All right.
It is perhaps fitting that we're spending 40 minutes on this, because life and death are the most important things we can talk about. A lot of the times we do commentary on pop culture, or we talk about other things that are happening in the news, but this is real, y'all. Kids are going back to school. And as a father, thankfully, my kids are slightly older, so my concerns are slightly less, because none of my kids are talking that smack about, I really don't like wearing a mask. They don't do any of that. It's like, you go to school, you wear the mask, period. And at my son's school, they sent us emails and they were like, we know some people may not feel comfortable bringing their kids back to school. We feel that in-person education is vital and important. And so that's what we're offering this year. And if you don't want your child to wear a mask at school, you have the option to not have your child in this school, point blank. No fooly wang, just don't come. Just stay home.
That's called leading from the front.
It is leading from the front. And guess what? You talk about freedom. How curtailed is your freedom when you can't go to work because you got to homeschool your child? How about that?
Right.
You talk about freedom. You want an 8-year-old sitting at home all day? Latchkey kids went out of fashion in the 80s, baby. You want to pull a latchkey again?
Talking about, my child is traumatized. They're suffering from anxiety. I said, what you gonna suffer from if they dead?
Death.
It's not funny, Sharon. I'm sorry for laughing, but
I mean, it drives me crazy when somebody says me talking about you can't smile from a ventilator, and I was like,
yeah, ain't no smile in the box.
It is nonsensical. It is nonsensical. And when you think about school barely started, first of all, we're being too rational, right? Florida is the #1 state in the United States of America. Okay, we are talking about North Dakota got a better rate than us. Arkansas, Mississippi. Okay, they ain't got no damn ICU beds, but they better than us.
I think I read that if Florida was a country, they would ban travel from the United States to Florida. Yeah.
Right.
So
and people trying to get their last minute Disney World visits in before the school year starts. Kidapalooza
again, who is encouraging full stadiums. One of the first big games is going to be, I think Notre Dame comes here to play FSU in a couple of weeks, and Alabama comes to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium to play Florida on the 18th of September, and they are out here promoting, we want to fill it up. We want the swamp to be the swamp. And I'm just like, boy, Lord have mercy. I hope the black parents of those young men who are out there playing aren't out there
aren't going to be at that stadium.
Yeah, wearing all that orange and blue and saying "Go Gators," because it's going to be some sick people coming up out that stadium. That's
what
all.
Was that football team? That Big Ten football team is, the coach actually said, my team is 100% vaccinated. I apologize if we offend anybody.
Oh, no, that was Mississippi. That was Ole Miss. That was Lane Kiffin at
Ole Miss. What are you apologizing for?
Yeah, because he's in a stupid state.
He was like terrified. I was like, wow.
Because he's getting pushback.
Curtis Calloway just said the whole ass truth just then. Because I'll tell you right now, he said, go ahead, Joy.
I firmly believe that.
A lot of these people have learned they don't like the little monsters they create. Seeing these little hellions somewhere else. Let me tell you right now, the #1 commercial to get parents to get their children vaccinated and masked is going ahead and keep them unmasked and keep them in your house for another 2 years. Because I'll tell you right now, they all got to go. I'm gonna get the Sandman out here, dun 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 dun, and get out. I don't want you in my house 24 hours a day. I can't do it anymore. Go back to school, learn you some stuff for 8 hours. Allow me the peace to breathe my own air by myself without you again. I can't. I love my children.
Where's the compromise? Tom, that's our point. Where's the compromise? We talk about the learning loss. Mm-hmm. My child never stayed home. Okay, we were at a very civilized school that parents had to be tested. Our son had to be tested. Airtime. There was a 3-day weekend. Airtime. Okay, and turn in the PCR results.
Right.
Don't bring your ass back to school. Okay, and I said, don't have people, that I can Photoshop anything. No. You send them that link and make them type in our name and our birthday to pop up the results. But again, we were at an 80-person school. I done dropped my son off at this 800-person elementary school this week. That's why I had to show up at school board. I was like, y'all need to understand the person's cargo that's getting dropped off at your school. Mm-hmm. But I can't even, everybody that's caught in a system where there's mask optional and you have no choice, the same freedom that they have, you have the freedom. The night I got home, Chuck, I'm typing a message to the teacher. In the light of mask optional and the choice movement, I choose for my son not to sit next to nobody without a mask. And if there happens to be someone in this class, they better be no less than 6 feet away. That is my choice. The end. And she sure, yes, ma'am. So we you could be mad and you could think they're crazy, and if ultimately they're in charge, then you use that same shit back at them. They don't turn freedom, inconvenience into oppression.
Yeah, they have.
You know what I don't understand though? I mean, I don't have kids because no, but what I don't understand is I remember when I used to work for Kimberly Clark, and we used to do all this stuff, talking to schools. I'm talking like 2010, 2012. We would talk to schools about outbreaks of like C. diff and MRSA. Like, y'all need to be ready because it's coming. And we were trying to sell them like surface sanitizers. We were talking to teachers about your desk is the nastiest place in the school and y'all need to be sanitizing, and all the schools are like, we can't afford all that. Y'all miss me with that bullshit. And so now they're like, can we get some sanitizers? Like, y'all, we try to tell y'all that shit. But anyway, my point is, I know that like I've talked to parents who had to like leave work because they had to go get their kid from school because they had like a fever, like a high temperature, like 100 or something like that. You got to come get your kid right now because they got a fever. And I'm trying to reconcile that in my mind, like all of the overreaction of a kid having like a 1 degree elevated or 2 degree elevated fever with just random raw facing in the middle of a pandemic. And it's okay to come to school without a mask on. Where they do that at? Like, I don't understand how you can be so upset about bringing peanut butter to school on the off chance that one kid on the 3rd floor has a peanut allergy, but it's okay to just bleh all over everyone all day with no mask on. That doesn't gel for me. You know, why are we so willing to be accommodating for some things, but because the previous Cheeto in charge made this a political issue, now all of a sudden everybody wants to have a problem with being accommodating for this very real, very present and ever present pandemic. Like, I'm struggling with this. Like, y'all know how to do this. Y'all know how to say, don't bring your kid to school if they have an illness. But now we're like, we don't care if they're ill. They don't have to wear a mask. They can just spit and lick on everybody. Just tongue kiss dog in the mouth, come to school. I don't get it. That is crazy to me.
It is to me too.
Because
Joy.
they woke up a faction of society, right? Since the Tea Party's evolution. Now I'm talking back to Sarah Palin time, right? It used to be the civilized elite right wingers, right? They have woken a beast of people who never used to vote. Yeah. We used to cross the street when we walked by them, and they were non-existent, and they were given a voice. So the banshees are loose.
You know who this is?
And they straight cray-cray.
This is
and
the
they have a voice. Those are the people that broke into the Capitol on January 6th. And the same way you're talking about 2010 and 2011, when we were somewhat civilized society, that days is gone. None of us could have imagined a pandemic. Then they messed around and found a vaccine and opened up, and you can't put that genie back in the bottle. And that's why this pandemic phase 2 is going to be worse. Because people, you know, we were caged, we acquiesced, we did what we were supposed to do. The lights went down. Everybody dimmed, everybody got in touch with nature, everybody found out their children and their spouses, whether they want to keep them. And
got divorced.
All of that. Then they set us free. They set us free. And now you're saying, Jeannie may have to go back in the bottle. Nah, no, that's why the casualty is going to be greater, Joy.
Because it's double-edged, because there are people like us who have been vaccinated, who we did the right thing for so long, and now you're telling me I did everything right, and I got to go back too. And there's a significant portion of us who's like, shit, go get my party on, you know. And so I'm vaccinated, and then we are carriers, and we are not as diligent as we used to be, and we're carrying it to the unvaccinated running around. Did y'all see Lollapalooza in Chicago? It was a hot ass mess.
It was crazy.
I mean,
and look, that's 2 weeks later. Look at what's going on in the country. Nobody's even talking about those type of things, Joy. And you're absolutely right. The difference, even in what you're saying, is the evolution of a vaccine, change of administration, shenanigans on January 6th also is not being met with rational behavior. So all the benefits of us being free are being met with laws that are. There's no reason we should have had a vaccine and not vaccine passports. Okay. If I need a fucking passport to go out the country, if I got to get all these vaccination documentation to put my child in school. Why is the vaccine not a checkbox on the immunization form? What is wrong with a vaccine passport if I got to give you every damn thing else to leave the country? Right. All of the, again, systems were not put in place because the disruptor in chief did not get reelected, and the whole country went to shit when all we were trying to do was focus on getting these vaccines out, but didn't put the systems in place to make getting the vaccination successful.
I'm gonna sit at home just with me and Cecily sitting home being cranky and mad and pissed.
We may go to twice a week on SSS just to keep everybody company. Because the genie about to get put back in a bottle for us civilized people.
Well, and it's not just, let's bear in mind, somebody put in the comments earlier, there's that whole Sturgis bikers thing up in the Dakotas, where you got 250,000 rebellious, right? You got those 250,000 bikers who already have an independent libertarian streak, driving around, hugged up on each other, drinking and cussing and swearing. You know they ain't wearing masks. And they come from all over the country.
Then they go back.
So they say 1 in 4 people is carrying COVID right now. So you go to an event like this where everybody's gathered together, they're coughing on each other and spitting on each other and fighting and doing all that stuff. And then they're going to ride their motorcycles all back to their own states because the people are coming from everywhere. And they're going to be carrying the virus that they caught back to their homes, back everywhere. I don't know if it's going to be canceled, Alvin. I'm hoping it's not.
Yes, Cicely. Today was his magic day. He was supposed to be reinstated as the president of the United States.
Right. Yeah. And look where that got you.
And you see that quiet bubble.
Well, you know, we haven't had a chance to talk about anything else, but can we take a moment just to talk about Mike Lindell and that 3-day nut job fest that he held in North Dakota? Did y'all see this?
Yes, I did.
So this was the thing. One of he set it up to be around the time, I guarantee that the Supreme Court's going to overturn the election and reinstate Trump. I've got absolutely indisputable proof. I'll give anyone $5 million if they can prove I'm wrong. And he canceled that. So let's.
And because he ain't got $5 million and he knew it.
Well, he ain't got $5 million. He ain't got 5 million fake feathers in them random ass generic pillows he's trying to hawk, much less $5 million. And had
pigeon feathers in them pillows.
And his own people.
Genuine New York pigeon feathers.
Man, look, his own people, his own cyber experts talk about, he never actually showed us the packets. What he showed us was trash. And we can't examine trash. And then he wouldn't even let us examine. Hey,
what's up, kid?
Hey,
look
man.
At the super vaccinated boy. What up, Nalo?
Hey, how was school?
Hey, man, you live on TV. You can't just be. Where are you going?
Okay. He's trying to sneak out.
He's like, whatever, I'm out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I wish he was vaccinated. He's 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not. The game never. My game never stops. That's right, Nalo. It sure doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go back to the room.
Bye, Nalo.
Bye, Nalo. Nalito. Yeah.
Said bye.
So the guy gets up on this big, mostly empty room, and he's got a stage and he's got a table on the stage, and he's got the guy sitting across from him, and he's holding up papers, and he sure is screaming a lot. And then he got a text that said, the judge, he's like, can you believe this? The judge just said that the lawsuit can go forward. What this means is that anybody can sue you for anything. No, bruh. They're suing you because you got on TV for 6 months and lied every day.
Yes,
and
sir.
They got you on the $1.5 billion hot seat. You and Kraken and Rudy. And Rudy, y'all. Rudy is doing cameos. Y'all know what cameos are? Cameo is a video service where celebrities will record a quick 30-second video for you. So some of them charge like $35, whatever. And so Rudy Giuliani is charging hundreds of dollars.
$375.
to send cameos to the two people on this planet who think that's good money to spend. It's like, this is Rudy Giuliani. Happy birthday, Cheryl.
Wow.
Donate to my legal defense fund.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
like,
That is the wait.
That's called
Yo.
desperation.
That is the celebrity equivalent of.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a windshield.
Oh my Lord Jesus!
Sit on your windshield.
That's what that is. That is what that is.
Jordan, wow.
And you know what's extra horrible? Just like
Oh my
Trump
God.
doing his webpage where he thought he was going to make Trump tweets a thing. Just like
I want him to show up and start. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just like Lindell had Frank, that was supposed to be his new Twitter replacement platform. Rudy gonna look at his Cameo inboxes and be like I can't even afford a Popeye's chicken sandwich, much less millions of dollars in legal fees. Ain't nobody coming for your Cameo.
I'm just waiting on clink clink.
Oh,
that's all I'm waiting on.
Rudy gonna be on his OnlyFans looking like Coco from Fame, like
not OnlyFans. Just stick your thumb, little baby. Suck your thumb, little baby. You pulled that one all the way back. You pulled that one from the original movie.
My God.
That's not even the series. That is Irene Cara.
That scene is burned in my head. I'd always go back to Irene Cara with that.
Oh my God.
Yo, that shit was traumatic. I'm making fun of it though, but it was traumatic when I watched it the first time. And I never
Y'all
forgot
are traumatizing me.
I never forgot it.
Oh my Lord.
I'm sorry, Irene Cara. I'm sorry they did that to you.
Oh my God.
Okay, so some of y'all, I know that most of our demographic knows that that's Al Green and know that Al Green's woman threw hot grits on his head.
And he got saved. She saved his soul.
Oh, she saved his soul.
Yeah, somebody wrote on my page.
You got a couple burn marks
at the bottom of the pot.
Right. Woo. now
Y'all are awful.
This speaks to my soul. And I admit I was putting a ton of these in our group chat because I was stumbling all across my timeline. But this is the one that really spoke to my entire heart.
Get off my land. That's it right there.
Oh my God.
Keep me from it.
Yeah, get off.
Don't come to my house.
Only death can keep me from it.
That's pretty much where we at. That is pretty much where we at.
We are.
I will write you a letter, Celie.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Like, you know what? I mean, why are you bullshitting? I have not seen my play brother and my nieces since like 2017.
Yeah.
And I was finally going to make it back out to see them. And I'm sitting here like, I'm gonna call them later. Like, yo, I mean, can I still come? Because I mean, I don't think his nieces, at least not both of them, are old enough to get vaccinated. And you talking about flying through Atlanta's, cesspool ass airport to get there. I'm vaccinated. I know they're vaccinated, but I don't know. And so, I mean, I still want to go, but I mean, we got to see what that shit's looking like in like October. Yeah. I mean, it's my plans, my fall plans. Damn. It's messed up, man. All because people don't want to act right. You know what? The one that really gets me. Yes, this is mad.
That was the most hilarious thing.
Yeah. There you go. Mm-hmm.
That's as current. That's as current event as it can be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
It's a lot. Well, here's another one that's also very current. This is Dipset. And they thought they were gonna have a versus, and Jadakiss came all up in the mix and threw their whole crew and the clique they claim. He threw all of them right to the wolves.
Oh my Lord.
Jada did that by himself. He did that.
But it wasn't just Black Twitter that was getting in on it though, because But and I'm gonna do this one for our new fan Curtis Calloway, because I know that he's a fan of this one.
Oh my God.
We went from Wolf of Wall Street to the Revenant.
Yo.
That bear tore his ass up.
Literally.
That bear was no chill on that bear.
No chill.
No chill on the bear.
And this is the one, like when I saw it, I was scrolling. And you know how you scroll, you're like, ha 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 ha. Oh, damn.
Why? Good one.
That is a
baby like that.
That is a My Girl meme. For those of you who were confused, that is not from Richie Rich or from Home Alone or Home Alone 2. That was from My Girl, and he was allergic. He was allergic to bees.
They had to do him like that.
They did not have to do him like that. That was the shocker, because you got to realize that little boy, Macaulay Culkin, was near the top of his fame. He had a little stretch where he could do no wrong. Everything he was was gold, 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 gold. And then My Girl, it was like, oh, look, it's a little coming of age story with Macaulay Culkin and Anna Klumsky. And they're just, wait, is he dead?
Whoa. Why?
Let me tell you something.
Why'd you kill Kevin?
Breaking news, audience. Breaking news. I'm going to represent. I just got my 2 new clients.
Okay.
Tom Cunningham and Joyce Stevens are going to do a movie TV critic show.
Okay.
I'm going to say it here now, because when they launch it, I'm going to get my royalties right. But these, I don't know how either one of them have jobs. Chuck,
They be knowing.
If either one of them sleep.
They
the 2 biggest nerds I know. That's why I can usually take a break when the 2 of them start riffing on TV that I ain't never watched, ain't never wanted to watch. That's why I can go and put my clothes in the dryer or something. But I just had this epiphany, and I think I'm going to executive produce it.
All right.
And y'all gonna pay me. But the 2 of you need to do your own movie TV critic. Go all the way back, because you 2 are like, I can't relate to either one of these characters.
Girl.
Okay, so this is Game of Thrones, and so that was.
I know that one.
Go ahead, Tom.
I know that one. Yeah,
that is
I'm gonna get a little cred. Sorry, go ahead.
Diana Rigg as Elena Tyrell, and Joffrey was a little bastard, and so she poisoned him
on his wedding. What was his wedding night?
It was it was at the wedding feast. She had him poisoned, and it wasn't just like some I'm dead poison. His whole face went purple, eyes bugged out. He was a hot mess. And then when they figured out who it was, that was her. She was sitting there, and the dude came to kill her because he was the king, and so she was a kingslayer, and so she had to die. And she said, "Tell Cersei it was me." And she went out like a G.
Okay, wait. Somebody's missing that on there. Who just changed the audio setting?
Me.
Okay.
See, I couldn't relate so much that my mic and my earpiece went out.
Okay. So we go get Sharon right back together. But this is what we are dealing with, people. We are dealing with the seriousness, and we want to make sure that among the other things that we talk about, that this is a focus. This is definitely something that is really deeply serious. Are we ready to at least talk about maybe this infrastructure bill, or are we just having too much fun?
One more.
Okay, one more. Okay, go ahead.
One of my friends sent me this morning, because once they named it, a lot of folks was like making jokes about the sororities and everything. I was like, I had to throw this one up real quick.
Oh, you know what?
Now I can relate to that one. all I said was all I said at that point was like, well.
I mean, it's all fun. It's all fun and games. It's all love. It's
you
all
got your whole
love.
coordinated Delta Dashiki thing rocking off. I see you.
Look, some of my best friends are AKAs. And they really are. Actually, both of my best friends.
Me too.
Sister, I love you.
Hey, Sharon Waters.
That's my stepmom. She is AKA.
Oh, wow.
So,
it's all
Dirty Panda says that we are ready. So, after the Senate pushed through their 1.2 trillion odd spending package on infrastructure, which was focused on things that the GOP agreed were actual infrastructure, roads and bridges and things and things and things and thongs. The Progressive Caucus in the House said, yeah, that's all well and good, but we still need them other 3.5 trillions. And so what you're going to have to do is give us a reconciliation bill that does not require the GOP. We gave you your 1.2. We're going to pass that. That's good. But Chuck Schumer came out like, balls front and said, yo, here's another 3.5 trillion. He just said, come on. And the CBO has scored it. There's some debate as to whether or not the CBO scoring properly takes into account the savings and the pay-fors that the Democrats claim. But the bottom line is that they turned right around after they held the Senate to get that vote before the August recess. They turned right around and said, this is what we're asking for another 3.5 trillion. Now, McConnell's
hell to the nah.
Silly turtley ass is talking about, nah. Even Joe Manchin is saying that might be irresponsible. But the point is that it's going to be another $2 trillion at least.
Let me break it down for you. I don't know if you caught it, but Chuck Schumer went on television and said, we will not allow society to ignore voting rights. Right.
There it is.
And I was like, I had a double take. I was walking by the TV. I said, what did he just say? He went on to do this whole John Lewis speech, sounding crazy because it was coming out of Chuck Schumer's mouth. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the person that made sure he ran out on the staircase to tell Cori Bush that the Senate passed it. That's called the AOC effect.
Mm-hmm.
That is called the AO. Don't think ain't a whole lot not going on. If you ain't watched that 1 hour special on AOC on CNN, see that's what I'm not doing when I'm not in the movie club. Okay, I'm watching the news.
We got to balance it out.
Clearly, because Chuck has seen everything y'all see. Y'all two just break it down like it ain't nobody business, right? So, but he is literally setting up himself not to be AOC'd. And he's the one in the Senate. I've never seen anything like this before. Ran out and met Cori Bush with big open arms, and they did this big embrace. I was like, what is happening? That stalled the eviction moratorium, of which the judge upheld today.
Yeah, that was a real question mark.
Okay. So Nancy, Chuck, there's a whole, they about to have their reckoning. I give them big props, right? They acting like it's this, but that first package gave everyone what they wanted. That was the cookie bags, right? That's why it passed overwhelmingly. But they didn't give them that without strings attached.
Right.
So they're gonna scream about this 2.5 trillion, 3 point, whatever. That shit about to pass.
It is.
Yeah.
That shit about to pass. And our heads are gonna spin. Like, what the hell just happened? It's gonna cement Joe Biden's legacy.
Well, I have to say, I was incredibly impressed with Cori Bush on this whole eviction moratorium thing. I mean, she really kind of almost John Lewis did, just like when John Lewis sat there on the floor when to not let it go. She did the same thing. She was like, look, I used to be unhoused. You're not going to let this just slide now. You got to. She
was so eloquent too.
She was amazing. She was amazing. And it really was a turning point for me because it was a topic that so many people were facing in this country. It wasn't like windmills, green jobs, whatever, kind of like an ephemeral sort of esoteric, this is something that would be nice to have. It is COVID and people about to be put out in the street. People about to be put out in the street because states did not even spend the money that the federal government encumbered for them to use to support these people. And it's not even just a matter of the tenants, it's the landlords too. The landlords need the money because they got to pay their own mortgages. Even if you didn't care about the tenants, you've got to care about the landlords, right? Because they're your 1%ers. They're the people that you really are supposed to be supporting. So you should have had dispersed that money to them.
And it's sitting with the state, sitting in the state coffers,
sitting chilling. And if the byproduct is that some regular folks don't get put out in the street, then that's fine, I guess, for you. But the real point is that you needed to get that money back into those landlords, because the landlords are going to put that money back into the banks, and the banks, all of it ties into what you want, because the owners are going to get the money ultimately.
Look, America has been in the back room Xeroxing that money like the good girls.
I mean,
they've been back there. I'm like, what the hell? We have been on some printing presses.
Well, and Rashida Tlaib wanted us to use the ability for us to mint coin to create 2 $1 trillion coins. That's what she been said. We have the power to do it. We're just going to mint $1 trillion coin, and now, bing. That's $1 trillion, just like this.
I sell something pretty with that.
This is $1 trillion, and here's another $1 trillion.
But see, some of the governors, like DeSatan, is sitting on that federal relief money, and he going around giving every teacher in the state of Florida $1,000 bonus. You saw that, Chuck, right? He gave every teacher in the state $1,000, a gift from him, and he's going by city, and he gave police officers. Not all first responders. I think it was just police officers, again, to dig. Yeah. And he had a selection process for them. So what the money is intended for is being spent on other matters.
Of course.
There ain't nothing wrong with it. I salute teachers for getting their little money. But the question is,
to get the teachers to vote for him
he's
again.
supposed to be using his Florida legislature money to do that. This relief funds was for a certain thing, but the government didn't put a lot of strings attached because they figured, how can you not do the right thing?
How can you not? When have they ever done the right thing?
Right.
I mean, they got GOP legislators still out here raping people, so they just stay trash.
Has anybody paid attention to the fact that the GOP continually lives up to the QAnon rumors that went out about
the Democrats?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Constantly.
I mean, you steady uncovering pedophiles.
Yeah. They exist.
Or the QAnon man that went to Mexico and killed his babies and got back on the plane in the shuttle and didn't have the kids. And they were like, where your kids at? Again, passport.
Where them kids at?
What kids? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't
and they just found their bodies.
And you know who's been real quiet since January 6th, or more so since January 21? Q. Where Q been at?
Marjorie been running all over the place.
Oh yeah, Marjorie's doing the most.
I was just answering your question.
but Q,
she's
Q
been
hasn't been posting.
Representative.
Q has not been posting at all. Quote unquote, highly placed in the Trump administration, secret blah blah blah. Ain't been saying nothing. And meanwhile, like Alvin says, Cuomo went on ahead and resigned. Now, I'm not going to give Cuomo props for resigning.
No, you don't get props for doing what you're supposed to damn do.
No. You and really what had happened is that somebody said, bruh, you about to be impeached.
Yeah.
So go on ahead and step away while you might be able to. And he tried this whole rambling thing, leadership, and it's time to allow the state to be led and all this other foolishness. You was about to be put out.
This ain't what you want, son. Don't take
it. It ain't what you want. You didn't need or want any of that smoke.
And you're right, Tom, because as soon as he resigned, they released today that they're not going on with the impeachment.
Right.
It's like you got a choice, bruh.
Right. Oh no, impeachment was coming. Impeachment was coming.
Oh, that was imminent.
And meanwhile, Gates is sitting here. I don't know why Gates thinks he's on Easy Street, because Gates' little homeboy is dropping thousands of photos.
Yeah.
Thousands of photos and videos and messages and receipts and everything. So Gates that water's just getting hotter. And Gates and Gomert and Bobert and Green and Jordan, that little quintet is gonna be picking off one by one like an Agatha Christie novel. And ain't gonna be none of y'all left. And then there were Q. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the end, y'all. Thank goodness, because damn, I just can't. I cannot wait for all of these chickens to come home to roost.
I can't remember who it was. I remember who it was, but I don't want to say who it was. But one of my friends, who runs in circles with extremely wealthy white men, told me that none of this surprised him. And he said that none of it surprised him because he has seen so much. He has seen so much that he took a job, a downward move for the same money, but he was like, I can't fuck with them no more. And his reasoning was, like, he said they was into some wild shit. And he said, you get to a point where you've made so much money and you've done so much stuff that it's kind of like, you know, how when you eat hot peppers and you got to keep eating hotter and hotter food because it doesn't stimulate you anymore.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for like sexual stimulation. And you get to the point where you got to get wilder and wilder. You got to do wilder and wilder shit to maintain interest. And so you get to a point where you've done so much stuff that you get to where you're doing things that 30 years ago you would never thought you've done. And you in a bedroom in Russia letting some child pee on you or whatever, and you are doing things to children, and you introducing animals into a room, and it's beyond off the chain. It's beyond Pornhub. It's beyond anything you ever imagined. You know, you never thought you'd be doing it, but now you doing coke. You're doing a line of coke off a donkey's ass. Like you can't even begin to. We can't even begin to think of it because we still think, you know, getting it in the kitchen is woo. You know, we still think that's wild, right? And they out here doing some like embarrassing the angels shit, right? Because they've done so much, and I do believe that is starting to come to light. Like so much of what they have done that they thought they were going to get away with. Caligula.
Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
Let's keep it 100.
Think about this, right? What Joy was just saying. We have been challenged in battling this sex trafficking hard for the last decade, right?
Snuff
in a meaningful
around for
way.
100-some years.
And think about how much had to have been covered up, buried. You know, the rooster watching the den for what is about to be unmasked. You know, this sex trafficking thing, when you think about the concept of bringing these Norwegian women over to be maids in major hotels, all, you know, and all the children that's been missing, people who you traffic grow up to be adults, you know, and when you see how long it has gone on, Joy, and the fact that little by little, you know, because they're not only into one thing, and these are high profile people.
Right.
You know, when these dominoes, when these dominoes really start falling, and where did QAnon get this? You know, I know I'm gonna step on toes, but it's like the Catholic Church, and you know, you can't proselytize one thing and do another. And so when you see where this is gonna go with this sex trafficking, it's one is not pretty. But it's about to get really ugly.
It's about to get really, really ugly because, you know, I remember, okay, I'm about to TMI, but I remember when I thought I was a freak because I did it doggy style. I was like, I'm a freak. Right. I thought I was real net. Look at Chuck's face. He's like, where is this going, Joy? You know, so do tell. Chuck woke up. But you know, because I thought that was like something real freaky to do, right? And then I watched Real Sex on HBO and I was like, well, shit. I guess not. And this was like
Samantha got you, huh?
Right? This is like 1999 or like 2004. And I realized I didn't know anything. Right? Mm-hmm. I remember when like good girls didn't do certain things, you know, and now that's like, you know, that's the cost of entry into relationships now, you know. We talking about, you know, I remember Chris Rock making stories like they still make you, like, you know, there's so many things. Wait, don't be clutching for exactly. I was like, literally. What is happening? You know, but my point being, you know, if I know about it, that is the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more that is already happening that is slowly coming to the surface as we melt away, you know, all the things that are hidden. And there's so much more that's been happening for decades. Like, and the reason I brought up snuff films earlier is because, you know, I remember, you know, movies being made about hunting other humans for sport. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they got that idea from? You think they just made that up? And if they made it up, you think somebody ain't gonna say that's a good damn idea, let's go do it? The things, the depravity that humans will impose on other humans knows no ends, right? You know, if I mean the very fact that Caligula lived centuries ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, human beings are terrible.
Nothing new under the sun.
As a species.
Absolutely nothing new under the sun.
Nothing.
And I am both like shocked and not shocked at what we probably will see, you know, coming forward. But I'm still kind of looking at them side-eyed, like y'all thought this other group was doing it and y'all the damn ones doing it, and probably leaking stories with the faces blacked out because you know it's you. You know it's you. You know? Mm-hmm. Dressed up in a furry outfit. Nothing against furries. Do you be yourself? But you know, dressed up doing something weird. The only thing that I really like have a problem with is when people can't consent, when people don't consent, when they're not old enough to consent, and when they lack the faculties to consent. You know, whatever you and you know, and leave the animals alone. You know, they can't consent.
And that last part that you just said, Joy, has always troubled me with the whole Dr. Bill Cosby and even the R. Kelly piece. You know, it's, you know, sometimes when we're on social media and those conversations come up, it never ceases to amaze me and how many men and women don't seem to understand that if a woman is drunk or high to the point where she cannot consent, that is rape. It's, you know, there are people who really tie themselves in the knots. And the other thing I want to say, in terms of Gates, his day of reckoning is coming. He's acting a jackass, you know, in the public square right now. But
even his own people are looking at him left. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to get indicted and he's going to go to prison for some time. It's just a matter of time. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. He'll get his. And then the last thing I was going to say in terms of what you were talking about the freakiness that's out there, man, I remind you all of this all the time. Luke Skywalker Campbell said that he was at a party up in Mar-a-Lago back in the 90s that was so buck wild that he had to leave. And so that makes, when I read that, I was like, well, what in the hell was going on at Trump's place that would make Luke clutch pearls and exit stage right? It had to be some of the things that you were talking about earlier, Joy, in terms of just, hey, we don't do this. Now, we do some wild stuff in our community, but that ain't what we do. So I'm gonna go home.
Luke was the first person to explain to me what a train was. I listened to the song and still didn't really understand what they were saying.
I got you.
You know, I was like, play this game. We call it air track for some. Call it the train. I didn't know what that was.
Hey, we want some.
Can I just say, since all of us are grown-ups and all of us grew up in the era where Luke Skywalker was introduced to the world, but to be a young Black male human being at an HBCU in Florida during the period of time when 2 Live Crew emerged onto the scene and literally had a song called "Hey, we want some Trump grab," right? And literally, I was 17 years old at Florida A&M University, and it was like, well, that's true. I mean, it was just, it's just a very simple thing. And you're at a party and, you're away from home, perhaps for the first time, you're surrounded by other young women, and you're in the right. I mean, you're in the grand ballroom, and and that comes on, and it's just like, and everybody goes nuts, and the chicks are not offended. They're not like, oh, that song, that's just no, everybody was with it because it was Florida, exactly, and that was just. I don't know that there's ever been a time on earth that was more betterer than like 1988 at FAMU on the set. Like that was a golden age. That was a golden age of HBC-ness. For real. I just learned what it was. LOL, Trump crap. Alvin Hicks, come on, man. Stop fronting.
You got kids, man. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. He can't be saying too much.
Right.
What else is there for us to talk about as we are in our at the bottom of hour 2?
I want to round it out with that one video. We have a PSA.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes. And yeah, in the 90s at Spell House, we were still riding high with the whole Dirty South music from the bottom, drop it like it's hot, scrub the ground. The minute you heard, round and around you go, round and around you go. Yeah, that was us all day.
Well, I mean, 1990 Spell House was only 2 years off 88 FAMU, so it was all good. You know what we talking about. We're talking about the Zoomers. Era. We talk about the Zoomers, Gen X, that whole HBCU Southeast Crescent foolery, Greek, Freaknik, all that, Daytona Beach Party, all that. Oh man, Daisy Dukes.
Y'all are so off the chain.
Look at that girl with the Daisy Dukes song. Look at that girl with the Daisy Dukes song. Everybody say, okay. So this is look at Sharon. So everybody, I'm going to ask you to stop your cameras, because actually you don't even have to, because this should just be center panel, and I want everybody to see. This is something, all of you freedom fighters, all of you people who want your freedom, I need you to listen to this brother right here.
What's a conspiracy theory that you 1,000% believe in?
I don't trust the vaccine. Got him. Not all the anti-vaxxers are here. Fuck you. You the reason that we stuck in the house. I hope your food is all encoded every restaurant you eat at. I hope that every show you do the mic you getting feedback. I hope you stub your toe and even know you put the lotion on the second you outside you get it as your fucking kneecap. I hope your breath stink. Oh yeah. And everybody that you hate is in your messages telling you less link. Oh yeah. You ain't the center of attention. Intelligence ain't your specialty. I'm begging you desperately just think. Please pull your head out your ass. You ain't important enough to get a microchip, dog. Please pull your head out your ass. You paranoia manifest to getting my folks sick, dog. Please pull your head out your ass. You trying to live. You ain't giving all us a perspective you trying to give. A couple Google searches to show you being foolish. I know you gotta be clueless for talking the way you did. Please pull your head out your ass and go get the shot. That's it. There's nothing else to this. Please pull your head out your ass. Stay in the house.
That was dope. He kind of looked like Kwame from back in the day, but sounds like Will Smith.
Sounds like Will Smith. Mm-hmm. I was like, wait a minute, until I realized that was the Bruno Mars track. I was like, what Will Smith song is this? Because and the flow was just wicked and fast and pull your head to ass. I was
that's my jam from now. Please put your head out your ass. Yeah, and I love how he's like, I don't trust the vaccine. Now that I got all the anti-vaccine, fuck you.
That young man is a genius. He is a genius.
I want to thank all the people that send me things during the week. There is a 50-50 chance it will end up on the show at the end of the week.
I know that's right.
send it to me, because that's how we get some of this content.
And you know what, people? If you have a question that you want to ask us, go on ahead and send us a video. You can send us a video. We can put the video on screen. We'd love to interact with you. We'd love to see what the Sharpies look like. We'd love to hear what the Sharpies want to talk about. If you want to send a message to us, you can record a video. You can drop it on our Facebook page. You can send it to us. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at it. And if we think that you have a question that needs to be asked, then we will ask it on the show. Come on, Sharpies, do your thing.
You got something you want to get, if you got something that's pressing on you want to say it with your chest?
Say it with your chest. You're full on chest. Say it with your chest, y'all.
We would love to have.
I know something that I would love to chat about before we call it tonight.
Yes, sir.
Have y'all checked out how they're dogging out Sean King? Y'all maybe we need to wait till next week on that. Yeah, man. Why do they give your Morehouse brother such a hard time?
I don't know. It's because
he really does be trying out here, man.
He do be trying.
They're dragging him right now. Yeah, about his house.
The house thing. Yeah,
the house thing with the wife, and then I guess earlier this week, he said he's going to start selling apparel, and that's when Damon Young from Very Smart Brothers and so other people really started dragging him about saying that he never misses an opportunity to try to, I don't know, publicize himself and make money. But I'm like,
I thought he already lost all his credibility.
So my thing, okay, so sometimes he does have a point. When you have a point, I will say he's got a point. When he pumps up other people and says something is an injustice, you know what? He is right. And I rock with him sometimes. And then sometimes I'm like, bruh.
Okay.
But this thing about the apparel. So I know people that are starting clothing lines. I know people that have struggled in the fashion industry. Bruh, you making t-shirts. That is not a clothing line.
Not apparel line.
You're running t-shirts like anybody else on Teespring and Etsy. That ain't a clothing line, bruh. So you about to get dragged. I'm not about to have your back, bruh. And unfortunately, my brother is, you know what I'm saying? Go and get your little Shopify account and you rock your little t-shirts out here. But my thing is, Zazzle. he is extremely light-skinned, and so he does catch hell for it. And I feel for him sometimes, they be riding my brother. But you know how we do in the Black community, if the shit funny, it's just funny. And the niggas coming up with for him, sometimes it should be funny. And I feel bad sometimes when I laugh at it. But they called him Talcum X.
That is it right there. When Very Smart Brothers called him Talcum X, I about near died. That was the funniest thing about Sean King. I am sorry. And my cousin is a friend of his. And she rides for Sean King. I am like Joy, speaking from the light-skinned delegation. He straddles a line. He's a habitual line stepper. Sometimes I can rock with it. Other times it's like, okay, Karen, can we not
bro, what you doing
with the extra? You're doing a lot right now, Sean. You're doing an awful lot right now. And don't be saying in one breath, we're being persecuted and have to move out of our house in a picture showing you and all your children in the house. Who are you protecting then? If you put all your minor children on Front Street just to show that you got a bunch of children with your Black wife. I get it. I mean, you're trying, but don't put your kids out there as props to increase your spread.
That was weird. That was weird to me too. I remember a few years ago, Damon Young wrote an article that really struck me in terms of he was talking about how he was walking down the street in Pittsburgh early in his blogging career, not when he had really taken all the way off, but it was kind of in that I'm about to take off, and he was like a car was following him, and he's like, I'm no punk, but he's like, I was getting a little nervous because, and he said, and then the window rolled down, and dude was like, hey, you Damon Young? And so he's like, his heart's beating fast. And he's like, well, what's it to you? You know, that type of thing. And it was a fan. It was like total fanned out. But what was scaring him was the flip, which is What if this is somebody who's like, you know, the emails that he gets or the threats that he gets, who's like, you're Damon Young, and the next thing you know, gunfire erupts. And so with Sean, Tom, that goes to your point too, which is if you're on the one hand saying you're worried about your family and you're worried about their, you know, safety and what have you, but then the next you're tweeting out, you know, a picture of you and all of your kids, and it's like, how serious are you about the safety thing, or how much of this is just like you say, you being Karen and throwing a hissy fit, so to speak, to try to help with your grift? I don't know, but it's like
I'm gonna let my face speak.
Huh? I got you, Cher.
I haven't said 2 words because we ain't got nothing good to say. Keep your mouth shut.
Right.
I'm so proud of you. So proud
Got you, Cher. Got you.
And before we sign off, all the Sharpies, if one more time, if you didn't put where you're watching us, can you put it in the chat? If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch, we announced it at the beginning. And let us know what city you're in as well.
Yeah, what city you at? And I got one text message they wanted to add to the shaming and the dragging. My girl called my girl who wishes not to be named called him Kunta Latte.
Y'all good. Y'all good. That's 2 home runs right there. That's 2 home runs.
Man. Right, that's funny though.
Kunta Latte.
Kunta Latte.
Okay, I'm gonna take
and Talcum X. Damn.
I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege. Latte Kente, I think, falls a little bit.
Latte Kente.
Yeah. Latte Kente, I think, is a little bit more betterer than Kunta Latte.
Okay.
Because you got the K and the K. One. No, it's good, but I mean, Talcum X took me all the way out. I was like,
Talcum X will win.
Like Talcum X is the and believe me, very smart brothers. I love you guys. You guys are genius. And I don't know if it was Damon or if it was Michael Harriet. Somebody had a string of sobriquets for Sean King, and Talcum X was just the one that I almost choked.
Let me tell you right now, Michael Harriet is a national treasure.
Oh, treasure. All right, you guys really did respond. YouTube, Sugar Land, Chesapeake, Atlanta, YouTube chat. Well, we know where you at, Alvin. Florida and YouTube, Florida, Facebook has my side eye, all of our side eyes.
All day, every day.
All right, y'all. It has been a stone groove. Thank you for joining us. We are liking our numbers on YouTube. They are definitely looking better. Invite a friend.
Subscribe to the channel.
Subscribe to the channel. Like and hit the alarm bell. So that way, every time we come on, even if Sharon's digging her head. Even if you don't see a post on Facebook, if you subscribe and you click the alarm bell, every time we go live, each and every time, you will get a notification and you can join us. And we'd love to have more people in the party. Thank you so much, Sharpies. At the end of this week's episode, I am Tom Cunningham.
I am Joyce Stevens.
I am Chuck Hobbs.
And I am Sharon Letman Hicks.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel.